Good evening, guys. Another year, and it feels like deja vu. India keeps on losing in the ICC tournaments, but anyways, there is no point right now because this video, right, and this video and the series of video that follows this will be my sort of goodbye to cricket and goodbye to Indian cricket also in general, because the legitimacy of one day internationals is almost done, and it's going to be IPL and franchise cricket going forward. I think Test cricket will be on its last legs, but I don't think people or players are exactly seduced by 5 days of Test cricket with little to no returns, right? So, anyways, I hope I'm wrong for cricket's sake, but I don't see any positive direction that cricket is heading in. I have a feeling that this is the last legitimate one day World Cup, because most other teams are not interested in it, and in either case there's a huge gap between the good teams and the not so good teams to put it mildly. So yeah, so this is like, what, I've been trying to make sense of why India lost this time. This time everybody was sure that India was going to win. I had my skepticism that probably India was not as good as we thought. I mean, I'm going to refer to India as we right now because I'm still an Indian cricket team fan. It's no slight against any other teams. I mean, oh yeah, and congratulations to Australia. Sixth World Cup win. So okay, that's a surprise. But really, heartfelt congratulations to them. No bullshitting. It's not. I'm not going to be sneaking in or being slithery by saying okay, Australia were good on the day and so on. That statement is true, but it's more of not accepting the result completely. I think Australia, they are deserving world champions, and they deserve to win. And and I would also say that India were also good in this tournament, no doubt about it. But maybe we didn't think as good as we thought we were. And I mean, that's what I'll leave it at right now, and I'll explain and I'll break down the results, and I'll break down the tosses and break down the conditions. But first, I would like to start off with Ahmedabad as to why this was extremely toss dependent. Again, I would have said the same thing even if India had won. This may be hard to believe, but I would say the same thing. I think this Ahmedabad pitch is toss dependent. Like, even if you see my screen right now, you check at the teams, right? You can check at the results. It does seem like, oh hey, look, I mean, what is he talking about? There are teams that won. Oh, and here's Australia's World Cup victory next to them. But anyways, oh yeah, look, it seems like an odd. It seems like, okay, good. There are teams that batted first that won. There are teams that bowled first and won. So I don't think it's toss dependent. But you have to check one thing, right? Look at the opponents that India played to win in Ahmedabad. Oh, and by the way, sorry for not introducing this caveat. This was since Motera or Sardar Vallabhbhai Stadium opened as PM Narendra Modi Ji Stadium after 8 years of break in ODIs. So we have to look at that nuance, not look at 2014. And I think the last ODI was India Sri Lanka, I think, in 2014, and then they went for renovation, if you call it. They went for renovation, and then the next ODI was 8 years later against West Indies. And you can see that I mean, you can guess. I mean, how many teams won the toss, and how many teams went on to bowl first, went on to bat first. And I intentionally obscured it so that it's like a little game I wanted to do. So just for an edge, we know how weak the West Indies team has been, right? I'm not bringing out this stats here. Now let's just look at this particular thing right now. So this is West Indies between 2021 and 2023. If you check this out, right? Oh, they seem okay. Yeah, it's not good. I mean, 17 out of 45 matches. That's about, I think, 34, 35, 38, 40ish%. That's not bad for a nation that hardly plays ODIs, but still, if you look at the number of teams that they legitimately won against, right? Teams that they're legitimate, like you can say Sri Lanka is legitimate, Bangladesh is legitimate, Netherlands, okay, even if you include Netherlands is legitimate, right? Out of the 17 records, 17 wins they won, they only won 9 times against legitimate teams. Okay, against legitimate teams, you include Netherlands also in that list. So in 2 years they won 9 times against legitimate teams. So regardless whatever India did here or didn't do here, they were likely swept the series. They played all these games in Ahmedabad, by the way, and then they played all of them on the same series. I think they played back to back. I think it's a 3 or 4 day gap between the games. I don't know, but now you see this result here, right? You think, okay, oh yeah, oh shit, that thing is revealed. But yeah, now I had to reveal. Look at this. India, they won the toss and they bowled first. West Indies won the toss and they bowled first. India won the toss and they batted first. So this was a little bit of a curveball. Now these are the World Cup matches. England won the toss. New Zealand won the toss and they bowled first. They won. India won the toss. Now this is a critical point. India won the toss and they bowled first. So I mean, some people are saying, "Oh, why did Rohit Sharma said he wanted to bat first?" I have a feeling that's a bit of a, I think, a bluff game, or trying to be positive, saying that, hey Pat, we're going to attack you right now. But I have a sneaky suspicion if this toss was won by India in this World Cup final, it's very likely that Rohit Sharma would have batted first. But anyways, so this is another anomaly. England won the toss, they bowled first, but they lost the game. This is another anomaly. And here again, Afghanistan won the toss. This is interesting, but they batted first. Now I can understand why Afghanistan batted first. Seeing the way India capitulated against Ravindra, right? Ravindra Jadeja in the match at Kolkata, right? Afghanistan might have thought, okay, the best chance to beat them is to strangle South Africa with spin, but eventually South Africa won pretty comfortably. And you look at Australia. I mean, this is like heartbreak for almost most of us. Okay, this particular one. But anyways, I know, as speaking as a neutral fan, I said, okay, I can see why this happened. I was not, maybe I was carried away and I was sure by the 10 match victory streak, but there are some patterns which I will share in other videos to complete my my healing process, if you will. So now I just want to ask you some questions, right? So India just won by 6 wickets. Okay, how much do you think West Indies got in each of these games? Okay, maybe just let me just pull this game aside and I will, you know what? Okay, this game. Okay, let me just put a stick on it, sticky note on it. Now, okay, let me just think. Okay, that's fine. This one, the score was 178. That's it. That's what that's the score for West Indies. India 176. West Indies 176. And if you check out the pattern here, neither the patterns seem like humongous scores that we saw in the World Cup, right? I mean, even in the World Cup, right? Batting first, none of them crossed 300. But if you look at the run rates, the other teams have won by, right? I mean, I'm talking about even competent teams like New Zealand, who were competent, India were competent, they're batting first, and South Africa, they were competent. I'm sorry, this is 247. I'm sorry, this is 247. Yeah, okay. Yeah, South Africa were competent, and Australia were, for now, let's say they're competent, right? Look at the run rates that they got in this World Cup. Look at the second innings run rates. They were very close. And England, right? I mean, this game, I think Australia this is a clutch match for them, because they had to win almost every game to make it to the semi-finals at the time, and they didn't want to leave too much a chance. And I think Australia, despite of facing dew for almost like the last 20 overs of the English innings, right, they were able to hold on to the nerves. And at one point, right, it seems like Ben Stokes and Moeen Ali were going to get their home comfortably. I think they were like 169 for 4 or 5, and they needed 8 runs and over. And 8 runs and over, they seemed like they were getting at the time. I think for the preceding 5 overs before Ben Stokes got out, I think they were going at a very high rate. I mean, it can also be explained away at the what do you call it, the winning percentage, right? Okay, check this out here. When in this is the game in the World Cup, by the way, at Ahmedabad, right? When England started to bat, they seemed like that England were on the ascendancy right now. But somehow I think this is like Zampa and I think probably Head. I think no, sorry, Zampa and Labuschagne and Smith pulling it back in Australia's favor. But then they constantly kept wickets, right? But then look at that, it's a 50-50 percentage, right? And then there were a couple of wickets. This one we can attribute to England's ineptitude to the bat, except the last 2 games of the tournament, right? They didn't play well until the last 2 games of the tournament. They didn't bat well. The bowling was okay. They were keeping them in the game, but the batting was a disaster, right? If they held on to this graph could have looked like England all the way. But it is due to England's, we could say, batting weakness at the beginning of the tournament or at the end of the tournament that caused this sort of disarray for them. But if you look at this, right, it seems like, oh yeah, Australia won. Okay, so far, no, so what? No. Look at the winning percentage, right? It was getting close. If I'm not mistaken, this is the fall of probably. I think I think this is the fall of Bairstow, then David Malan or Joe Root, then Ben Stokes and Malan got it down, and then Malan got out, and then it was going, and I think after Malan, I think Josh Butler got out. I think the odds went higher, but look at that, Moeen Ali, and this I think the Moeen Ali and the Ben Stokes partnership between here and here, and as you can see, right, they were getting close. They were really getting on Australia's what do you call nerves, right? If you look at the scorecards also, it was 170 in 35.3 overs. They needed just, what was it, 286, right? That was very much a gettable score. And if you look, they got they got almost 63 runs in 10 overs and no sweat. I was specifically watching this match to see if Australia could defend this 286. I thought they were going to lose this game because based on the patterns we saw from the Excel sheet, right, any competent team that bowled first, they would have won. And at one point it looked like England were going to win, but I always had hopes that Australia were going to come back again. Hope in the sense that I just wanted to see a different result, just to see that that it's not toss dependent, but much to England's discredit, and they bungled up the game, and they made the game very uninteresting, by the way, and I saw a good come from behind victory. Actually, this game, I think Australia, this is one of the best games other than the World Cup final. This is one of the best games. It seems innocuous that okay, it's only England, and yeah, but the conditions were not in the favor. By between this point and this point, right? Zampa was literally like what do you call, working on the ball with this towel. The towels were coming out. So I thought this looked good. This looked really good. I thought this looks really good. I thought this Australia could definitely lose here, but much to my disappointment also, I thought that England can also win, so that it'll just spice up the tables. But England, much to their credit and their batting incompetencies, especially in the beginning half of the World Cup, they bungled it up. But credit to Australia, they held on to the nerves. Now, to my final conclusion, right? Again, I'll be courageous enough to say that India could have easily lost this match if Pakistan also bowled first. Again, you should know that even though I'm an Indian fan, I'm not speaking just from an Indian perspective. I'm just looking at the patterns. Again, I might not understand how the black soil behaves or the red soil behaves, how each spinners have an impact on it. I'm not saying that, but I'm just looking at patterns. I'm trying to be fair and trying to make a fair and honest assessment. Assessment of this, not just being a hack, right? But if you look at this, right, I have a sneaky suspicion that even if India lost the toss, they might have struggled the same way in the final against Australia with Pakistan. And if India were also bowling first, they might have repeated the same dose against against what they did in Pakistan. That's for sure. Because uh, India had Jadeja, India had Kuldeep Yadav, India had Rohit Sharma, who could have turned the ball, and Bumrah and Shami, they could have easily adopted and ball those same slow ball bounces, or even Siraj could have also bowled those slow ball bouncers, and they might have also strangled Australia the same way India strangled Pakistan. If you look at this course again, I'm trying to be absolutely fair, not trying to say, oh, India were invincible, right? Like I said, India were not as good as they thought they were, but at the same time, this final was heavily toss dependent. But just take a look at this, right? India Pakistan game. Look at that. Look at that. There was a good start from Pakistan, just like how India had. Okay, now what happened? They were 2 for 73. They're going well. 3 for 155. It seems similar to Kohli at 4 for. Of course, Kohli got out, but after that, it's just an absolute stranglehold. Look at the stranglehold in Indian innings. Now you compare that with India Australia, right? Maybe let me just split the screen here. I know it's post mortem and all, but let's just split the screen here. Let's say India Pakistan, or was it this one? Yeah, this one. Look at the split screen. Look at the batting. Look at the similarity, right? 1 for 30. Okay, there's a good start. It's not terrible. 2 for 73. 2 for 76. 3 for 81. Okay, this was a body blow for India, but 3 for 155. And 4 for 140 again. Similar time when Kohli got out, Babar Azam also got out at 39.5. And I think Babar Azam got out with a similar sort of delivery, right? I think he was just a little bit asleep against Siraj, and then he got bowled. I remember that it was against the run of play, similar to how Kohli got it. I think the ball didn't bounce as Babar Azam didn't expect that much, and the ball didn't bounce as he expected, and then it's a similar pattern to where Kohli got. Again, I'm not saying Kohli and Babar Azam are the same, and I'm not saying Siraj and Cummins are the same bowlers, but it's interesting pattern to look at. They got out the same way, and after that, Australia were able to put a stranglehold, just like how India also put a stranglehold on thing. And only difference was India, they had a little bit more resilience with the bat, you could say, and they had at least had KL Rahul till 6 for 203, but Pakistan didn't have that. Now, again, this may seem like, okay, I'm excusing that. That India could have won if they won the toss. No, I'm not excusing that. I'm not excusing. I'm almost sure that if India would have won the toss and they bowled first, they would have won this thing. This World Cup could have also been India's to win. Now, again, this one, I don't know. I don't know whom is to say that, whom to point the fingers at, like who chose that used pitch on Ahmedabad. But this World Cup could have easily gone to India, and it was actually, this one was decided on toss. I know now we're talking about, oh, how Australia, they have a killer mindset, and how Australian society is different, how India has a middle class mentality. But based on the patterns at Ahmedabad, and based on the way the Pakistan game transpired, and based on the way that how easy it was to bat second at Ahmedabad, right, throughout the history of the ground, since it became a stadium named after our Prime Minister. You could see that it got very easy to bat second. Especially look at the World Cup also. It got very easy to bat second. Again, this may seem like an anomaly, but England, they got the toss right for the once, right? But what happened is they couldn't execute the plans. I mean, 286 was still very much a chaseable score, but they didn't execute their plans properly. So again, I'm not again now. Let's assume that India won the toss, right, and then this one belongs to here, right? I am sure the pundit would have said, "Oh wow, India is developing." Like India. I mean, look at the way Jadeja played. Look at Kohli's. Look at what do you call Kohli's fielding. Look at Rohit Sharma's captaincy, exemplary. I mean, there has to be moderation for praise, and there has to be moderation for what do you call, for criticism. There has to be some sort of moderation. You have to understand, right? I don't know why all the pundits say that, hey, look, Australia deserve to win. They won the game, and the white horses. No, I have a sneaky suspicion. Just looking at it, just logical, looking at the patterns, right? I hope somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but just looking at this patterns here, the pattern of the win loss ratio, right? It seemed like the person who won the toss, they were going to win the game. the reason I'm saying is not because I desperately wanted. I mean, I wanted India to win the cup, of course. I'm still heartbroken, but I'm just more disappointed as to why that pitch was prepared at that particular point in time. I was really disappointed by that. I thought if they had a flat batting track like the game they had in Vizag, I mean that was just a, a road, sorry, pitch. That was just a. I mean, I'll be honest, that was a road. I mean, if they had that sort of thing, right? The worst case scenario, India would have got to 350, and very likely with the pressure of the World Cup, Australia may have had a spirited chase, but still they would end up losing by 20, 30 runs. It would have been an exciting game actually. Now, by creating this pitch, as an Indian cricket fan, again I'm disappointed, but kudos to Australia. They deserve to win. They took the chance. I thought, and again, this is where I have to give credit to Pat Cummins. I thought this rigid Australian. Rigid Australian ethos, right? Okay, we're gonna put pressure, like Warner said a lot of times. Like, oh, we're gonna put a pressure in the final when he's captaining Sunrisers. He says, okay, I'm gonna put pressure in the opponent in a big game. Runs on the board is always pressure, right? I thought Australia were going to fall for the trap, and they were going to let the what do you call the rigidity get the better of them, right? That they were going to bat first, and if Australia were going to win the toss and bat first, I would have just shut down the TV, and I told my friend, hey guys, just wake me up when India lifts the World Cup. That's how confident I was, right? I'm not kidding, and. This is what I thought the worst case scenario would be. Just a minute, please. No, I know this is a little bit chicken scratch. I know this that. No, this is the only way I thought Australia were going to win based on the current form and all. And I thought also this is a less chance, right? They're going to bowl first. They're going to put pressure on India because I know the way Ahmedabad was going to behave. But even then, I thought they had to get 3 wickets in 10 overs. Maybe get VK, Rohit Sharma, and Shubman Gill. They got two of them, but not Virat Kohli. But they got what do you call it, Iyer instead. And I thought maybe this didn't go exactly as planned, but I thought that they would get 250-ish. And sorry for my chicken scratch. I was just making just a rough mental note. Okay, what is the only way that Australia can win? And I was also assuming that India can still defend 250-ish, because the pressure of the World Cup final and the Ahmedabad crowd will definitely be behind them. But I thought this is the only way that Australia can win. That if they bowl first, I mean, you can say maybe I'm speaking in hindsight. I've taken down these notes after the final, but no, I've just taken this note down before the final. Again, I mean, a lot of people might have had the similar case. They thought in a similar way, because India were also on the mat against Australia. They were 2 for 3, remember, and 24 for 4. Yeah, and they were playing in the first game in Chennai. Again, let's go back to the first game in Chennai, right? Where Australia again had to bowl in worse conditions, because Chennai, it's notorious for Jew. Literally they just, you can it's so bad, right? That the stopper, that's so super stopper, right? It had water all over it, and it got easily bad. But I think India would have eventually won, even if the Kohli catch was taken at 24-4. India would have eventually won. Probably that would have tested us a little bit better, because it got ridiculously easy to bat. But that should have been a little bit of an indication. Hey, never let the Australian team bowling is very good. The batting, yes, they might falter, but the bowling is good, right? So that's why I thought the worst case scenario would be that if Stark, Hazelwood, and Cummins, they bowl well, which they did for most part of the match, especially Cummins. I thought India may have a long day ahead. Yeah, so this is what I think. Again, this was extremely toss dependent. I know people won't admit it, and I'm being very consistent here. I'm not saying that because India lost the World Cup. I would have said the same thing if India would have won, because because now I'm also saying that even in this game, when India won the toss, I shut the TV down because there's no way Pakistan were going to put 350 and put challenging enough score to defend the score, because Pakistan they have conceded 350 against New Zealand in the warm up game versus Hyderabad, right? So even if they were going to get to 350, which they weren't, they were not going to challenge India batting first. So very likely India were going to win the match. But that's the worst case scenario. Best case, I thought Pakistan would struggle to get to 250, 260 based on the way England have also played. Yeah, New Zealand, they were definitely. I mean, I'll talk about New Zealand also in later videos, but New Zealand were definitely a smart team. They played well this World Cup, but I don't think they were that good that they were 7.78 chasing down in 7.78 good. I don't think they were that good. I don't think New Zealand were that good. Yes, they were definitely good, but they were that good. I don't think England bowling also is that bad. So again, I'm being very consistent here. Uh, India, India would have probably lost if they batted first against Pakistan. But this one, India would have definitely won if they played batted bowl first against Australia. I mean, there's no two ways about it. And I'm not going to make what do you call exaggerate India's claim if they won. I'm not going to even exaggerate Australia's cricket. Yeah, they were good sides in the tournament. Then in this final, it's unfortunately, as a cricket lover also, this is toss dependent. That's it. Hope, and I'm going to come back with why India were not as good as they thought they were. But this final, it was extremely toss dependent. And in the next couple of videos, I'll first start off with why India were not as good as they thought they were, and second is I would also check at why I would also check at why I would check at all the patterns with how the matches went in Mumbai, in Kolkata, in Chennai, in Bangalore, and I would think I would also stop with what the broadcasters can do and how one day cricket would be saved, which just for a rando speaking on the internet, this is not useful at all. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's no way of saving one day cricket. It's over right now, and this is like my you can say my final love letter to one day cricket. Whether I'm watched or not. Thank you.